Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Borcom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have them back, especially with what's going on in Ottawa, what happened in Ottawa, what's going on in the Ukraine. You're going to really want to watch this or listen to this if you're on podcast. We got David Luxon, he's executive chairman at KWESST Micro Systems, trades in Canada under KWE. For our friends in the US, KWEMF. For those new to the story, here's what you need to know. KWESST is a leader in what we call defensive technologies. They increase the capabilities of soldiers, including and especially those of NATO and its allies. These technologies make a critical difference to soldiers' safety and effectiveness. The leadership team spans decades and hundreds of millions of dollars, in fact, billions in military and homeland security contracts. They've even partnered with globally recognized equipment manufacturers, including Samsung, where they're upgraded to Samsung USA partner status. What's that translated into? Well, last full year, $1.275 million in revenue for the year ended September 30th. The company's Arwin anti-riot device, which has proven invaluable in helping in the Ottawa protests, is getting about $400,000 in police orders for that. The Ukraine invasion has driven requests for their Phantom electronic decoy technology, which is fascinating, and usually I have more fun and enthusiasm about it. But given the fact what's happened in Ukraine, we're going to keep it strictly business. And they've even got a master agreement with global defense contractors, that you all know very well, which includes up to $1 million in orders for initial prototypes of systems. So if that wasn't enough, David Luxon himself, who you can see on the screen, is a recognized entrepreneur in the defense and security industry. His track record is too long to mention here, but trust me when I tell you it's big, and companies under his leadership have generated over $1 billion in sales. So if there's anybody that's well-versed in this, it's David. Welcome back to the show, David.
Hey, George, great to see you again.
Hey, great to have you. And it's unfortunate there's a double-edged sword going on in the world right now, a lot of unrest, which drives obviously more demand and requests for your product. But I think I said off screen, at least you're there for everybody to help out. So let's talk about something you said in your last corporate update. Quote, we have a stronger outlook for our products in the face of a changing operating environment. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, everybody, of course, has been hearing the news, and it's all crept up on everyone, and a lot of it's been a big surprise. We go back a few weeks, we had the trucker protest, that originated right here in Ottawa, that has spread to other cities in North America as well as Canada. It's even spread overseas. There was a lot of anxiety about how that might evolve. That certainly drives business for a company like KWESST. More dramatically, we've now seen the outbreak of not just hostilities, but outright war on a vastly destructive scale in the Ukraine, with a potential for that to have very long-lasting effects that really amount to a reordering of the security arrangements in Europe and perhaps beyond. Security arrangements have been in place for decades. And this attunes everybody to the reality of the threat and the need for the kinds of what we call next generation tactical systems we specialize in, which is in three areas, and you touched on some of these. One is a breakthrough in non-lethal systems that have big applications in public security and personal defense and beyond. Secondly, digitization. We're in a digital age. NATO countries and their partner nations everywhere have programs underway to digitize their soldiers so that they have real-time situational awareness. It can also use that for targeting as well as a common operating picture. Now that's more urgent than ever. And thirdly, we have, as you know, some counter threat systems based on some of our proprietary technology that does miniaturized integration of sensors and softwares. And that includes counter laser technology or laser detection systems. That's really important because troops and their vehicles get lased or lasered, if you like.
That's how they tag them.
And that's how they're targeted. Then they can be attacked And also in the case of the present conflict, some of these laser systems have been weaponized so that they will fry and melt down anything optical like scopes, but also eyeballs. And so lasers are a hazard of modern warfare now. And this is attuned NATO forces. Not that they weren't attuned before, they were, but now the pace of being ready matters, right? So that's favorable for a company like us, bad for the world. And then we have, you mentioned Phantom. Another big threat in theaters of operation is forces get detected electronically because of the electromagnetic signature that they emit, right, from the
Right. So I'm a soldier. I've got radios on me. I've got some batteries. No matter what, I've got some. And that's how they, doesn't matter if I'm hiding behind a building or a bush, where that's how I can get detected, right? So
no
you guys
place
create
to hide.
electronic decoys through Phantom.
That's right. And this is not a theoretical issue. Troops and armor divisions have been wiped out from having their position detected. In comes precision missile fire and they're vaporized. And so this has really intensified the interest for our Phantom electronic decoy. This is obviously some security sensitivity around this, so I won't say very much about it other than what we've said publicly before. You can find out from our website. This perfectly mimics our normal friendly force communications of any NATO country according to their protocols. And you sprinkle these in a battlefield, and now the enemy doesn't know which is a real location and which is a Phantom location. So,
right, so there could be me and nine of my fellow soldiers out there. It could be a unit of 10 of us, but through Phantom, you can make it look like there are 50 of us, and the enemy systems don't know which one is the real one and which one are the decoys, right?
That's right. And typically to find out, they've got to send out drones. And so that starts to slow down what's called their targeting cycle. And so that's slowing them down. And they may also then throw out some ordnance, missiles, artillery shells. So it's now causing them to consume ordnance and intelligence and surveillance assets on Phantom target positions. And so, this technology has existed before, but on big platforms that go on big vehicles. And what we have is highly miniaturized, so you can deploy it at the level of the individual soldier or put it on a drone and sprinkle these in the battlefield areas.
And let's talk about that, David, because you guys are pioneers here. And I think it's important for people to know you're not competing against Lockheed Martin and all the other defense contractors for big offensive weaponry and solutions. You're on the defensive side, and you're able to take it right down to a very granular level that most people haven't been able to. So is that your competitive advantage? Is that the market that you guys are able to fit in nicely? And I don't want to say dominate, but
and in a word, George, that's just called the tactical market or the tactical edge. And particularly when soldiers start to be deployed in what's called dismounted patrols, right, or on foot. So at the level of big platforms and systems, as you mentioned, right, big tanks, armored personnel carriers, and ships and aircraft, these big systems exist. But what has not existed until now, and to our knowledge, we have the only systems like this, are miniaturized systems that can be used by what are called dismounted troops.
And hence the name KWESST Micro Systems. There's a reason for that.
There's a reason for the microsystems. We've got a proprietary technology that miniaturizes these typically big platforms, right? In some cases down to something the size of your thumbnail. So from a piece of furniture down to the size of your thumbnail.
Unbelievable.
And it integrates these sensors and the software. And so we have this technology advantage that's unique. We've also been in the industry collectively for about 10,000 years, as you noted. So we certainly know the industry, and we don't compete with the big tier one defense contractor. We partner with them, as you may have seen in some of our announcements in December. We've partnered with General Dynamics mission systems for digitization programs. We've partnered with General Dynamics Land Systems to put things like our Phantom right onto a next generation of vehicles for a big U.S. customer in significant quantities. And as we said publicly, we continue to be in discussions with a number of other OEMs for complementary programs. And we've done this before, very successfully. Partnered up with, in previous lives, partnered up with big tier one OEMs who we know, and the big defense contractors. And, we fill some very valuable niches that are, that are big. But big is relative. It's too small for them. But
yeah, I was gonna say there might be a rounding error on their end,
yeah,
but for
right.
you, $100 million is a company maker at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right. So it pulls us through into big programs everywhere, right? So it's a proven strategy, and here we are just taking a page from that playbook and doing it successfully.
Let's talk about a couple of specific applications. So look, we're both Canadian. You're in Ottawa right now. I'm 4 hours away from Ottawa. Your Arwen anti-ride equipment was used at the trucker protests in Ottawa. It's a non-lethal system, which I think was critical in helping, in assisting in quelling the protests, and to make sure that it happened non-lethally at the end of the day, right? So let's talk about how successful you are in Ottawa and what kind of orders you've received, what kind of interest you've received as a result of Arwen.
Well, we're receiving interest all the time. Certainly the trucker protest has been a catalyst. Not necessarily because of that specific incident in Ottawa, but because of the spread of the trucker protest and the awareness by authorities that they need to be ready, right, for public order incidents like this. And Arwen is it's an iconic name for what it does, and it has customers throughout North America, not just in Canada and overseas. And, it's used every day and you don't hear about it, but it saves lives every day. So.
And how does it do that, David? How you kind of explain to us how Arwen works? How is it non-lethal?
I can explain it to you from firsthand knowledge. I was firing it yesterday.
I wish I had video of that.
Yeah, so it basically is a blunt impact system. So it hits you with a big fat baton that comes out the end of the barrel of this. I mean, this is one of the few launchers like this, grenade launchers, that was actually made for non-lethal applications, right? For public order and control. Most rocket launchers, most grenade launchers that are used have actually been made to take high explosive grenades, and they're used for crowd control and so on. That's kind of a secondary, non-perfect application of it. But the Arwen is made for saving lives. It's made to be non-lethal, and it is a baton that gives you a big impact when it hits you. People are trained to be able to fire it sort of center mass. So that's where it impacts someone. It is extremely accurate. I was astonished shooting it yesterday on how accurate this is. And so
how do I get my hands on one of those for my unruly neighbors?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do get some requests like that. Now,
but what kind of, so you got, as a result of maybe success in deploying in Ottawa during, or maybe another, I know you can't be specific, but that's led to, sounds like numerous quotes for replenishments and new orders.
That's right, and to be and simply to up the level of readiness, right? And so it's got a great fan club out there, but we're there to spread the love amongst other agencies. One of the reasons we acquired this company back in December is that it's just got so much unrealized potential, and almost from the day we bought it, we've seen an increase in the pace of orders. So, I mean, everywhere there's a heightened sense of the need to be ready for public order incidents, and to be able to use something that's really proven, really safe, so that everybody goes home alive is as much about the safety of the officer as well, right, as the safety of the person getting hit with this to temporarily incapacitate them.
And so critical to make sure that protests, unrest don't get escalated as a result of tactics deployed by law enforcement, right? That's why your products are so important, because they don't escalate people. It's non-lethal,
That's
as
right.
opposed
And
to escalating things because someone was just killed.
yeah, and a minute ago I used the phrase "everybody goes home alive." I mean, there's the objective, right? And it's the design philosophy in our new para ops non-lethal systems, which have broad application, not just in public order, but for personal security and for animal control, and even for force on force training. So it's really quite a breakthrough technology. We launched that at SHOT Show in January. There's an enormous amount of interest there. And that's a product that's not just for police, not just for public order, but has a lot of these other applications, including for someone's own personal defense. And again, where the nature of the technology makes it very reliable, for one thing. There's people out there that promote air guns, essentially paintball guns, that will shoot projectiles, some of them with irritant powder in it. But people who know that air guns are just not reliable, and especially in a critical incident. So you want something that is reliable. Ours is reliable because it uses a cartridge like like a gun cartridge, only with no gunpowder in it. Right? No gunpowder, no explosive, no compressed air. And so it's got a very low velocity, but it's got a very effective payload when it hits you. Right?
Is your acquisition of Arwen just an example of a great product that needed probably a better marketing machine behind it to achieve its true potential? And
yeah.
based on what you're seeing already, are you pretty confident that you guys are going to be able to really expand by several multiples what Arwen was doing while it wasn't under your umbrella?
Well, I am very enthusiastic about its potential. I can tell you the whole Arwen team is. I was with them yesterday, and our para ops team. And the market's everywhere, whether it's for public order or the para ops for personal defense, for example, or to stop a dangerous suspect, incapacitate them temporarily. Everybody is just enormously enthusiastic about the potential for these products, and the fellows who came with us constitute the Arwen team, are clearly very enthusiastic about the new ownership. They know we understand the market, right? We're not just financial owners. We've been there and done it, a lot of us. So we've got operational experience, and we understand the user community deeply from decades of having serviced them. Those are big and real advantages, right? If you need to have been part of the industry and understand the users and understand their operating procedures and their doctrine to be able to effectively grow something into this marketplace.
Back on November 15th, I want to kind of go back to that and talk about Phantom. You announced that General Dynamics, who you mentioned earlier, the Land Systems, had selected Phantom for a new vehicle program submission to the U.S. military. So that was back on November 12th. It was going to take about 15 months for your engineering team to go through it, collaborate with General Dynamics in order to get a prototype ready. It's March. I know it's still early, but how is that collaboration with General Dynamics going? And I just love that as an example of a monster company that's collaborating with KWESST Micro Systems.
Well, I think both parties are very happy with how that's proceeding. Obviously, very important for us to perform. I mean, our technology is proven. It's a matter of integrating it into their particular vehicle that they're putting forward for this program, and our engineers are obviously highly motivated to make sure they're doing a great job on that. And we will, and we think that General Dynamics Land Systems and the U.S. military customer will be very happy with the end result. This is a very effective system to have in the field for its purpose of us creating this electronic cloak, so you can't easily be detected. You're deceiving the enemy everywhere, and it's really become an essential part of the modern battlefield. Now, I remember when in a previous life I was providing jammers against remotely detonated roadside bombs. And this started off as something that bomb technicians would use, right? If they were trying to defuse a bomb. But what that evolved into is everybody had to have it going into a theater of conflict where this was an ever-present danger. So soldiers on the ground had to have backpackable units. Vehicles had to have these vehicle-mounted versions of it. And so it just became ubiquitous, and that remains the case today. And no one would go into a theater of conflict today without this kind of jamming equipment. And I believe the same thing could happen with our Phantom system, and same thing could happen with our battlefield laser detection system, where everyone's facing these threats, and you have to have the protection against them. It's not an option.
Last year, you reported about just under $1.3 million in revenue for the full year. But look, just this program alone, I think, is include a $1 million order just for the initial prototyping. So that almost does your entire 2021 year in one shot. How does your sales pipeline look? Because I remember last year when we spoke, there was a good sized pipeline. Are you able to give us some details as to how that pipelines look? Because when you guys succeed, you'll succeed big with really big orders. You're not selling one system per day on a Shopify, obviously. So
Right.
How does the sales pipeline look, and how optimistic are you about this fiscal year?
Well, the sales pipeline, just continues to grow. We've given some indication on specific programs of what that can look like. For example, we said before about the Phantom just this one program with General Dynamics Land Systems would be in the tens of millions of dollars. That's one program on one vehicle for one part of the U.S. military, and times programs like that around the world. And so that's a blue sky opportunity, we believe, right? It's a bit like having jammers against roadside bombs, or you've got to have electronic decoys. I don't see any question about that in the context of modern warfare. Same with our battlefield laser detection system. We said we were expecting the first orders from a NATO customer this year. I mean, I could go on. We keep saying internally, this is the year of revenue growth, right, for the company. So it's been in developmental stage and market evaluation stages. Some of its contracts has had in the past have been by very important marquee customers to evaluate the technology. And, that kind of thing will always be ongoing with new customers. But now we're able to hit the gas pedal and start converting this very big sales opportunity pipeline into actual contracts. So
then once you get a successful, deployment, a successful sale into just one aspect of one military, there's no reason why that can't multiply several times over, right, Dave? Because you guys aren't just dealing with the U.S. military; you're pretty much dealing with every every national defense in the world.
Global market, and it's just a repeat of a game plan we've done before, where we pick off very high value niches in the defense and security market, not just the military, but security as well, that we can dominate, just like we have before in previous incarnations. And that on a global scale becomes huge.
Look, congratulations on your success to date. It's too bad that it comes with increased hostilities and unfortunately outright war even in the Ukraine. But the fact of the matter is, you guys are filling a fantastic need with these soldier safety systems. That's what I love to call them. And we wish you nothing but great success, not just as shareholders, but helping protect soldiers against all these threats with your non-lethal systems is just great for everybody.
That's what motivates the company and the team. Most of us have been there and done it, at the pointy end of
Been
the
in the field.
spear, so with business end of it. So there's a lot of satisfaction in doing something like this that makes a difference. We're not just making plastic bags.
Yeah, there's as shareholders and on our side, there is a nice double bonus here. One is hopefully, as you guys execute a successful business, but at the same time knowing that there are real people out there in the field whose lives are being saved. There are real soldiers of NATO and its allies who are being saved. Lives are literally being saved by your microsystems, and can't wait to keep talking about it as this ball accelerates at Quest, David, as it just keeps rolling faster and faster. I can't wait to keep having you on more and more. And by the way, I can't wait to see the actual, you guys next week going to be released some videos. So I can't wait to start showing the world some of the videos, because it's one thing for us to talk about it, which is exciting because you can get a general feel. It's another thing to watch these videos and see in action. I can't wait for those. Maybe, who knows, maybe we'll bring you back on in a couple of weeks just to go through some of those videos, just to explain to us what's happening in them.
Sure. Happy to do it anytime, George. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David. For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening to my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to David Luxon. He's executive chairman at KWESST Micro Systems, trades in Canada under KWE, and for friends in the US under KWEMF. To start your due diligence, two ways to do it. First, get to the company's profile page on Agoracom, because there's a lot going on here. What a lot of us don't know what soldier safety defense technologies are, right? Now you have a good idea, but we've got it all neatly laid out for you. We got some great images actually to show you the product in action, the products, sorry. And then from there, once you feel comfortable, you got that 1,000-foot view of Quest, then link over to the website right from Agoracom, do your deep dive due diligence, and hopefully discovered your next great small cap defense company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Thanks, George. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.